Welcome to the Sound Mind Sessions, where mental health meets music. I'm your host, Naimah. The whole purpose of this platform is to create a safe space for music professionals to talk about mental health challenges that they experience, their journeys, and also promote their music. So hang around, stick around with us as we talk about mental health in the music industry and break the stigma around it and encourage more people to open up. Today, I'm being joined by AVA like Lava. She is an Iranian musician based in South Africa. Welcome to the Sound Mind Sessions, Ava.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be your first guest.
Excited to have you. It's really exciting to have this conversation on mental health, and I really think it is a stepping stone for us as artists to have a conversation around it. I just wanted to get your take on talking about mental health in your space, in your circle.
I think that it's a conversation that's not necessarily being had among artists. But in my circle, I feel like I'm fortunate and blessed enough that I feel like I have the safe space to speak about what I'm going through. I, for one, am very fortunate. I go to therapy and I have that type of safe space to just, work out and work through my own problems and the things that come up in my life and mind.
Therapy is something that's usually looked down on as artists, because I think we have this thing that our music is kind of an expression of our deeper innermost emotions and thoughts. So we kind of use music as an outlet in a way. Do you use music as an outlet?
For sure. I've actually been contemplating asking my therapist whether she'll listen to my music to try add that to context. I want to know if I'm what I'm expressing in my music relates enough in a deep enough way to the stuff that I bring up in the space of therapy. But I also feel like, the stigma of mental health and chatting about it has become a lot less, throughout our childhood. Well, I feel like our childhood wasn't necessarily a time where people spoke about these types of things. And I think it's already changed a lot since then. So I'm happy about that.
How have you given yourself as a support system to other people? Is there a way that you find helps people open up to you?
It depends on the person, for sure. I think the best way of making the conversation easier to have is just by starting with your own experience. That itself, that vulnerability that comes with just talking about what you struggle with might enable someone to feel like this is a safe enough space to bring up whatever they're going through. And that's why I was bringing up, I'm more a private person, and I think I'll only answer questions if they're asked. Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to not answer them.
Mental health is not the first conversation we're going to start talking about. And I think, like you said, it's really a matter of just creating a safe space. I've found that even the most private and the most closed off people actually do become vulnerable when you have created that safe space for them and you've given them that accountability and the reassurance that they can rely on you on that level. Take us through the independence of an artist. For you specifically, what challenges have you faced being independent? How has that taken its toll on your mental health, if any?
I think that, for one, being an independent artist means that you are the only person driving your own ship. Aside from having label support and things like that you wouldn't be benefiting from, you wear a lot of hats. You are behind the scenes, you are on the scenes, you are your distributing platform, you are your PR company, you are your everything.
You're your stylist, your own makeup artist. And I know this about you because you're so particular about how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, from the look to the makeup to the styling to the music. And you've released your single titled 90s Anxiety. Tell us, what was the thought process behind making that song, and what was your goal in making 90s Anxiety?
I think 90s Anxiety for me was a song where I wanted to speak about our generation's challenges with this fast-paced, fast-changing world we live in, and how no one else can really relate to us other than us. And a big part of that is underlying anxiety or ADHD or whatever it is that we all have that goes unnoticed and that is not really easy for us to necessarily speak to our families about, because they just wouldn't understand it.
In our industry, it's such a fast-paced industry, like you say, and I'm sure there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. How are you managing putting yourself first and putting your mental health first?
Everything that I do that aids my mental health is routine, you know? Routine is so important to me. I'm a creature of habit, and I have to have good habits to feel good and to pick myself up when I don't feel good. A huge part of that has been exercising for me. I've just found that it makes the worst days that much better.
True.
And changes, you know, that gloomy perspective you may have on the worst days.
Absolutely.
It makes it just that little bit better. And it's become such an important anchor from my mental health. And I'm willing to bet that it would do the same for anyone else. It's just one of those things, looking after your body and actually treating it like a well-oiled machine will help your mind be more capable of handling tough situations. I think particularly with the confidence you have in yourself. You know that if you endure a difficult workout, you've already endured one difficult thing that day.
What are your coping mechanisms? Besides, obviously, we know music is a form of expression for you. Exercise gets your mood in a better place. How do you manage a hectic schedule?
One day at a time, honestly, one task at a time has been my strategy over the last couple of weeks. I just really benefit from having, you know, a bigger team around me now with the second project, and just, you know, trusting other people's input when I feel like I'm at a deadlock and, you know, just can't think my way past it. Other people. Just get other people's
support
input.
system.
A support system.
I would definitely agree. You know, having a support system, especially as an independent artist, is really important. When you mentioned something about not being able to talk to people who are really close to you because sometimes they don't understand, I think this is a challenge that a lot of artists actually face, with lack of support, because they just don't understand how you're so invested in a career that's so demanding and so stressful. And they see people going through this and thinking, why are you so invested in something that's taking so much from you? Would you say you've had a great support system from the beginning, or is this something that you've just started developing now? And if it is something that has only started developing now, what do you think are the factors that have fostered that?
I think I've always had a great support system. Perhaps my partner is definitely the first person who gave me that safe space and the support system I needed to even have the confidence of approaching music, starting it, and, you know, just like being patient with myself, knowing, hey, it's your early days, you're gonna suck, it's gonna be hard.
Don't put so much pressure on yourself.
Don't put so much pressure on yourself. I'm just so blessed to have someone as supportive as him. So I think it's just a matter of finding people whose judgment you trust. They don't have to necessarily be involved in your team. It always takes a village, even when you're an independent artist.
True.
It takes a village. It takes so many other people who take that chance on you and who are willing to invest their time and energy into you. Rely on them. Like, I think the safer space can be found among your peers who you actually trust and who you're in studio with all the time
100%.
and who you're on set with all the time, you know?
Is there a particular incident that you can think back on in your journey in the music industry that you feel like you had to kind of work through?
I get nervous before I do anything that is big. I went on TV for the first time. I was very nervous about that. And especially about, you know, just being obviously on TV for the first time, millions of imaginary viewers who are going to be watching it, and the stakes of delivering, you know, my music well and doing it justice, because it's like, okay, we've done it justice in studio, we've done it justice with like the release, it's out. How am I going to convey this song and make sure that I do a good job representing it? And the more I rehearsed, the less there was like anything to actually be anxious about.
Okay.
I think, just practice.
You literally just answered the question that I was leaning towards, and that relates to performance anxiety. Something that I think a lot of artists, no matter how qualified, no matter how many times you've performed, you will always have that little bit of nervousness / excitement / anxiety before getting onto stage or onto a performance.
And you can't lose that. That's valuable.
It's really valuable, and I wanted to touch on that and say you've basically mentioned how you coped with that, and that was by being well rehearsed and also thinking forward to how good of a performance you want to deliver. Performance anxiety is an important topic because a lot of people think they shouldn't be anxious, no matter how many times they've done it. So I just wanted to mention that it is a very normal experience, and you should always tap into that feeling. Whether you think it's anxiousness or nervousness, tap into it and transmute it to deliver your best and still maintain that you're giving 100% or whatever it is that is 100% in that moment for you. So a lot of people have, different methods. For me, I also get well rehearsed, and I feel like as long as I know my songs, my lyrics, even if the set had to change, it's fine because I know what I need to deliver.
I think also just such a huge part about this conversation around performance anxiety is you're going to start out by winging it and seeing how that goes.
Yeah.
And you'll probably realize that winging it brings you a lot more anxiety than
if you just actually rehearse.
Just even once.
I know,
even once.
right? What would you advise that artist that is in that place that thinks, oh my God, look at all this glam and she looks so good and she's got everything together? I want you to speak to that person and tell them what it is or what it isn't.
Honestly, take it a day at a time. Don't trust what you see. People hold things that you would just never be able to imagine.
That's so true.
And that is just about anyone. And that's why, I think it's one of the most valuable things to suspend judgment and not judge a book by its cover. So yeah, don't believe everything you see on social media. Don't believe that the perfect version of things that people put out is a reflection of their inner workings or how they feel. So just don't think everyone has it good. Focus on your own, focus on yourself, get active. It will fix most of your problems and bring you the confidence you need. It's like mental health. Let's go. 101.
How do you handle stress? Okay.
I hope we're rolling already because all of this is part of, the real chats.
Yeah, it could be stressful.
Yeah, it can be stressful.
1, 2. Okay, back online.
Just creating art can be quite stressful.
Interview.
It's crazy, and we're catering to the shortest attention spans in the world. All of this work, and they have no idea what goes into it.